Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Marlu and this is Main Books. My voice is not cooperating. Okay, well, today I'm gonna talk about the 10 books I read in January. I think I read maybe 2 of them physical and all the other ones I read as audiobooks or ebooks. So let's dive right in. I think 10 is a great number. If I could do that every month, that'd be fantastic. I started off with Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valente. I think that the power of this book is that you don't know what it is about, so I won't say too much. But it's a short book, and you have these intermissions of this housing being described as wonderful with rules, but it seems picture perfect. And then you have the storyline of her main person or main character who is with her husband, and yeah, she's just kind of managing in this perfect little world. I thought it was fun, entertaining, good, interesting, but that was it. That was it. I'm not gonna rate everything right now because I cannot do it. I just cannot do it. So I just put it in the screen if I figured it out. But yeah, this was an interesting one, and I love reading short books in between because it gets the number up and it also makes you feel like you've accomplished something, which is great. Then I read Penance by Eliza Clark, and this book is about a man who is writing a book about something that happened. So he is interviewing these people who it happened to, and also you read in the storyline where it actually happened. So you have these girls, these high school girls, and it's kind of confusing, but basically one of them gets set on fire, and she, oh my god, I totally forgot if she died or survived. What? Anyways, so of course these other girls, when we're sent to trial for that, because you cannot just set someone on fire. And it's just interesting because it starts off with like elementary school and the dynamics between the girls in school then, and who was bullying who then, and then it goes to high school and who was bullying who then, you know. It's very interesting. It made me a little bit sad that it's like, is this all a girl's life is, like trying to survive other girls? Like, that's kind of crazy. It was really sad because these girls have a lot of problems and they're just raw dogging life without any help. It's not good, but it was written well. It was interesting. It was kind of like icky because, yeah, it's just kind of really sad to read about. These girls are just going down some hole of like, I feel bad, so I want to put my sadness onto someone else, and that is a very real thing that happens. So yeah, very interesting concept of a book. And then also when it, you know, comes back to the author, because you're not constantly thinking that someone else wrote this, but sometimes it does tie back into the story, like with the interviews or like with the ending. You're like, oh yeah, you're not just reading a story, you're reading a story in a story. And it's just kind of makes you think about whenever you read something that is real, you never know if it actually is real. Yeah, interesting concept for a book, for sure. Then I read All In, which is the 3rd book in the Natural series. These books, like, I know people love them. I don't necessarily love them. I just like how they are, once you're in it, you go through pretty quickly, and it's just fun because it's like Criminal Minds, you know, these teenagers going with them on a trip to find serial killers, stuff like that. It's interesting, it's fun. I don't necessarily get involved a lot with like the characters because I feel like there are a bit, it reads very YA, you know what I mean? So like the things they go through is not very YA, but the way it's written is. So it's not like I'm getting super emotionally involved in these characters. And I like that this book is a little bit more about Sloane, because for me Sloane is very fake character. I shouldn't say this, people love this series, but I mean, like, she's just such a caricature of what she does. And I like that it was a little bit more about her, so you can see more sides to her than her just being odd. So yeah, I read that as a physical book, so that was good to switch it up. Then I read Bread by Gabriel Smith. I started this in December. I was not really flying through it. Right now I want to say what it is about. I'm struggling. Okay, so this guy, his dad died. So the house is now empty and he has to clean the house so it can be sold, but he's just doing, is he doing drugs or just drinking? Maybe both. And he's just like, yeah. What is interesting is that his mom is in a care house. He's an author and his mother was also an author, and he finds a manuscript. So you read the book that his mother wrote. It's a horror book, so like things are not what it seems. And it's like, and I thought that aspect was really interesting about him wanting to like, you know, I do love people going crazy. So I did enjoy that, but I didn't enjoy the overall feel of the book. I was never like, I need to keep reading this, but there were some interesting aspects to it. I like the cover. The cover is very Saltburn, like, you know, with the antlers and stuff. And then I finally read Beartown by Fredrik Backman. At first I have a very hard time getting into it. I was like, oh, because it switches between like a million point of views, so you're not really getting to know characters fast because you're constantly, you know, finding a new character to read from. And it's this book is about a hockey town, so it's about the people in this town and how much hockey plays a part of that life. And with this author, I always have like a little bit of an annoyance because I don't know, there were some things in it that is just a little bit cringy. Like you have these short parts of a person, and then maybe like the point of view ends with people giving each other a high five. Why? Like, I'm not saying this is a bad author, but sometimes it borders on that. You know what I mean? Like, why would you end with a high five? It just irks me in the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, I could see if this guy used to be a children's book author. I'm really mean right now. For no reason, because I love this book. I love this book. So, there's some sexual assault in this book. I should just mention that for trigger warnings, but also because from that part on, I had wet eyes multiple times. I almost never cry with books, so that was really special. I just really loved how human it felt and how like the parents, the relationship, like it was so good. I really enjoyed it. It made me feel a lot of things. And there were just some characters that I really started to love, and that's great. And you just learn to empathize with a lot of people because you read from their point of view, and that in the end makes the book very interesting because it's not just like protagonist and antagonist and stuff. It's just like everyone is doing things and you understand why they're doing it because you're reading from their point of view as well. So that was really interesting, and it's a series, so I'm definitely gonna be reading this series. I think it's easier to read the series because this book I had a really hard time getting into it, and now if I read the second book I'm already in it. Unless I wait too long, of course, but if I just dive right into it, I think I can manage. This is a bit of a cheat book, but I read Define Dicks and Mortal Pricks, Greek Myths for Feminism by Walburga Appleseed. That's the name. So I read this as an audiobook, but I've seen it's like a picture book. So I cannot really rate this because I've not seen the pictures. So this is basically a book explaining Greek mythology by treating them like you would see men being called on TikTok. You know what I mean? So every guy is a rapist and he sucks, and it's like that. But I imagine there are really funny images with it, but I didn't see it, and I'm like, if that's the point of the book, why would you make it available as an audiobook? I mean, that's not true, of course, because you want people who can't see to be able to enjoy your book. I get that, but like, it doesn't really work as an audiobook. It could have been an article, you know what I mean? But maybe the images are great, but I haven't seen them, so maybe that's on me. Then I read Shark Heart by Emily Habeck. I've seen a lot about this book, and I was not really interested in reading it. And then there's this Dutch group of people who are like a bookish friend group, and there's this tournament that you have to read for points. And one of the things that you could earn points with is reading about a transformation. I was like, I can read Shark Heart. So I did that. I mean, it's great to be challenged this way because I was not really interested in it. I don't know. This kind of cover, it just reminds me very much of the kind of like book talk books that I don't enjoy. But it was good. So this book is about a woman and her husband is turning into a great white shark, and you just read about their relationship. And then you start to read about her mom and her experience with that. And I just thought it was fun and enjoyable, but I'm not gonna remember it forever. I just felt like this is a debut, so I could kind of like notice that. I'm like, this author has potential. She can, she can write. But I saw a lot of people getting emotional during this book, and I did not feel that. But it's a fun story. It's just not up to that certain level of where I would want an emotional book to be. But yeah, it was enjoyable, and I got points for it, so that's great. Then I read Pet by Catherine Chigi. I hated this. I listened to this as an audiobook, and after I finished it, I looked up the reviews, and I just saw no one talking about how fucking pedo this woman was. Like, no one talks about it, and I was like, am I, like, normally in the, like, online world, people are always more sensitive to what's wrong and what is fucked up. People jump to conclusions, people are really sensitive. So for me not to see those reviews, I was like, what? So this is about this girl, and she lost her mom, and then she has this teacher. They're in a very like Catholic school, and this teacher has like her pets, the one that could stay and like clean the board and stuff like that, and she wants to be her pet, and then she becomes her pet because her mom died. Red flag number one. Like, that's just sad. This girl doesn't have a mother in a year. I'm like, I'm just gonna give her like a little bit. I don't know. The problem is, like, you can write a book like this because usually it's about men doing that. Like, we've seen that a million times. So I mean, it could be interesting. I mean, do we need those books? I'm not sure, but it could be interesting to see if it is a woman, because that's exactly what happened with this book. No one clocks it because it's a woman and she's just motherly. But this woman, she's gonna like literally touch her fucking boobs. This girl's 12, and it's her teacher, and she's an adult. Like, she makes her little student shave her legs in a bathtub. Excuse me, I was disgusted with this book. I hated it. And the thing is, if it's like the book is gonna be about that she's gonna be locked up as a pedo, then cool. But it seems like the author is not catching up on that. I'm not sure, but like nowhere in this book is anyone calling her a pedo. And I have issues with that because and even in the reviews, like, am I misreading it, or is no one acknowledging the fact that this is disgusting? I hate it. I'm not gonna give it a high rating because I hated it. There were some good aspects to it, but it was just, I just hate that no one talks about that part, because it's the biggest part of the book for me, is just being disgusted. I'm like, when is someone going to call her out? Nobody does. Not even the reviews. Goodreads reviews, you've disappointed me. I'm not gonna make a review saying that. I don't want to be attacked. Anyways, moving on. And if you're like, that's the part of the story, that's the point. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just thinking, if this was a male teacher, and no one would acknowledge the fact that it's pedo, then that would be wrong. Because I can use critical thinking skills and being like, that's wrong. But you know, this book is also about a 12-year-old, so I don't know who this book is targeted towards, but maybe other 12-year-olds will be like, oh, that's nice. No, it's not nice. Anyways, we just gotta move on from this. The next book I read is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kuang. This one debut novel in the Goodreads Choice Awards. The reviews on this are not that good, so I don't know how it won, but yeah. This is about a author. She's getting her book turned into a movie, and then she also, like, this past time her sister died, she threw herself in front of a car, and the driver was a kid in her school. So you see bits of that. And then she finds out that that guy is now on the team that's gonna make it into a movie. So you see them, you know, bickering, hating each other. And you know, cannot say too much. But they're working together on that movie, even though she hates him because he killed her sister. Like, these topics to me are always very, like, again, controversial. Like, she could have jumped in front of any car. I think it's set for him that, like, he couldn't do anything about it. He's just traumatized for life because of that biatch. So for me, it's like, I'm automatically, like, rooting for that guy because I just know he had a sucky life because he killed someone, because that person chose to be killed by him. It's just very sad. To me, that's very sad, but he's not you don't read from his point of view. Do you read from his point of view? Yeah, you do, sometimes. Like, I get it, like, the main character, of course her life is sucky, and I get that you want someone to blame for what happened to your sister, but, like, yeah, please blame your sister. That's all I can say. But yeah, I had a good time. The thing was, I read this thinking it won in the YA section. And then some things happen, and I'm like, that's pretty out there for YA. But I would say, like, the spice is okay. It's not, like, disgusting. Like, I don't like a lot of spice because I'm like, no one needs to know that. This was okay. It was fun sometimes. It was kind of weird because they did a bunch of things without even kissing once, and I was like, that's a choice. That's the thing you could do. It's not a YA book. That's good to know going into it. And then the last book I read is Ripe by Sarah Rose Etter. What is this book about? This book is basically about how life sucks. She's working in this business, and this business is, like, expecting the world from her, and they're never grateful, and all she does is work, and they're always, like, complaining, always being mean, and they take up this plan to take another, like, firm down because they do the same job and they're stealing their clients, and they want to take them down. It's just really, like, morally not even great. It's just Jill. So yeah, it's about that, and she's also, like, taking a lot of drugs, and she's, like, having this boyfriend, but it's, yeah. This book really, like, missed a little bit of heart for me because I know this person is just, like, you read it like you are a person, you're stuck in your job, and they're constantly complaining about the city about how awful it is, and you know the solution seems really easy, like, just leave, but you know that in their mindset, like, this is their life right now, so they're just doing it. And yeah, I don't know, it was a very much, like, if you want to, like, be convinced the world sucks, read this book. You know what I mean? This book get me into a slump because I've not read anything for, like, almost 2 weeks. Oops. Blaming on this book? No, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I'm gonna forget about it really fast. Fun thing about this book, it has, like, descriptions of what words mean. So that was interesting, and she's constantly talking about, like, a black hole. So it has some, like, it's not like a flat book. You know, there's some depth in it, but there's not a lot of heart in it because it just feels like you're kind of reading at this point of no return. and in no place in this book did I have hope that things were going to get better, as in better for her, for the character. So yeah, I don't even know, how did it end? I forgot. Did I remember one of these books? No. It was a good reading month. I read a lot, but there were a lot of books I was like, yeah, I'm gonna forget about this in a second. I was surprised by Beer Town because I was not getting into it, and then I read it and it was really good. So yeah, those were all the books. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more of me, you can also subscribe to my other channel. I post journal content there, so also about my book journal. So if you're curious about that, it's May Journals. Everything will be linked in the description. Thank you so much again, and I will see you next time. Bye!